Oh, it's all happening today. Blake Lively, I saw your movie last night. Another simple favor. I've got a review for you. And then some information that has come out that I did not see coming. I have to take it into account. That will happen. The Karen Reed trial is going off in Boston. We have our beat reporter from the Boston Herald, Flint McColgan, joining us. We're even going to have a martini with Dolph Lundgren today. There's all kinds of things happening. Hot Mics with Billy Bush, presented by our friends at LA Golf. All right, we are live on TuneIn and YouTube. How you doing? Middle of the week, hump day. Did you know that today, I got to say, everybody that works with me on the producing side of things, they're what you call short kings. Short king. And did you guys know there's Steve right there? Rob is not here. He's on vacation, but he's a definite short king. Vinny is a short king. So Short King Week, we're in the middle of it right now. You know what Short King Week is? 5'5" to 5'9". Oh, sorry, boys. I'm 5'9" and 3/4. Okay, so I'm out of that window. I'm a medium king. My kids call me medium king. So I saw Another Simple Favor last night. Blake Lively's movie on Prime Video. It is the follow-up to A Simple Favor. It proves something to me. Allison Janney is in every movie. How does this woman have the time? She's the crazy aunt in the film. It's the busiest woman in. But here's the thing. Here's my review. It's shit. It's not for me. I don't know that I'm the demo, but this thing is like a soap opera and a telenovela with a major motion picture budget. I mean, it's just as crazy. It's not even twins. It's now triplets, and there's murder and there's mafia, and it's so over the top. I think it's designed to be over the top, and it has truly, that I couldn't watch. I'm going to say this though: in a bad movie, Blake Lively's pretty good in it. She plays, an evil woman who marries for money, and she's terrible. She is the lowest form, but she plays it very well. And the clothes this time, while her wardrobe is a disaster in It Ends With Us, very chic in this film. And it's kind of beautiful. It's pretty, it's shot in Capri and all that. But I thought it was pretty rough. But there's a new pro Blake Lively article. So her team is kind of, cranking up some stuff. Because every time you see something, you got to just assume somebody's behind it, right? Came out in The Guardian regarding, the Lively Baldoni situation. Here's a quote from it. Zuhan Chen, founder of a social media data analysis firm, basically. He started analyzing, social media posts and things in the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, looking at all the online activity. He's been looking into the online traffic about Lively and Baldoni. He said, I would estimate more than 80% of the pro-Justin Baldoni posts are inorganic, meaning they're bots from mostly the Middle East, like they discovered with the Johnny Depp Amber Heard situation. So they're manufactured, 80%. Now, what does that do? If that's true, and I'm not saying it is, I don't know, because, at some point, you also have to look at the fact that whatever they put out there wasn't invented. If they're putting out old interviews where Blake Lively is shading the interviewer and not being very nice, or, that happened. It's not like they, did an AI Blake. Same article that I read begins with this line. Many Hollywood figures and organizations have come out in support of Lively. Which ones? I haven't seen any. The receipts have been posted online by Baldoni's attorney, Brian Friedman, right? He's put up everything on that website. The two women Blake claims also have sexual harassment complaints against Baldoni and his partner, Jamie Heath, do not. There's no record of it. Sony says bullshit. We know that. Brandon Sklenar, co-star in the film, and Colleen Hoover, the author of the book It Ends With Us, have both retreated. They're gone. They immediately came out in her support when the New York Times article came out, but they're gone. Her best friend Taylor Swift is pissed and gone. So thanks to that website, with all the receipts posted by Friedman, there's either photographic or text evidence that flies in the face of her main accusations about inappropriate improvising on set, creepy comments made by Justin or his partner, walking in on private moments like pumping breast milk. It's clear to me that Blake colluded with the New York Times, right? She has a terrible reputation. She's not the face of women's empowerment. She's the face, frankly, of leftist overreach, really. She and Amber Heard kind of overplayed their hands. If the Believe All Women movement had any chance of resuscitation, Blake Lively stepping forward to seize the mantle ensures its burial. It feels like a lot of women are pissed about that. I don't know. New York Times extracts a text from Justin Baldoni's publicist, Jennifer Abel, to the other crisis publicist, Melissa Nathan, which says, Justin wants to feel like Blake can be buried. Me too. If someone is trying to paint me as a pervert and ruin my career, I'd like to know that they can be buried. What's our recourse? Brian Friedman responds to that. That text lacks critical context, meaning she might have been joking. She might have, wants to be buried. But, when you're reading something, it's very different than hearing it. So Melissa Nathan, the crisis publicist, goes back to Jennifer Abel and says, oh, by the way, socials are really, really ramping up in his favor. She, Blake, must be furious. It's actually sad because it shows you how people really want to hate on women. I agree with that to a degree. That's why I said in the last episode of Hot Mics, I'm on the hunt for annoying men. Hello, Ryan. We'll see what... I know you're still there. Here's what's clear. Fast exploding digital content that kind of rides the algorithmic wave can make something seem organic when it's manufactured. Blake prays that the jury sees that and concludes that all of this amounts to smearing, that they did in fact smear her. But, people got to do their own work. Do they care? It's how the National Enquirer, existed. Don't let the truth get in the way of a good story. A lot of people assume, who cares about the details? People don't care about the details. They just want to consume this, empty calories. Well, whether a movement, or online opinion is grassroots or gaslit, it'll all come out in this trial when we eventually get to it in March of 2026. We will learn way more than just who did what to whom and what motives were on that fateful set. The receipts are coming in, all of the phone and social data analysis. This thing is going to get so in the weeds. All right. Did you hear about this? This is an amazing story. Poor Jennifer Aniston. This is not the first time this has happened, but we go to the guy who crashed through the gate of Jennifer Aniston's $21 million Bel Air mansion on Monday afternoon. By the way, I used to rent a place half a mile from there, a real shithole, believe me. It's not just mansions in that area. But I was like going through divorce and stuff. I was in a hellish period in my life, and I lived a half an hour. I used to drive by Jen going, she's single, I'm single, save me. But it's Monday afternoon. She's home alone, although she has 24-hour security out front, so she's never alone. And this guy, Jimmy Wayne Carwile, is the guy, and he was held at gunpoint by her security until the LAPD got there. So this Jimmy guy had posted some creepy stuff recently, calling her his bride and saying they share a child. He called her super special. Now police are investigating the stalker angle, obviously. But we've tracked down Jimmy Wayne's boyhood friend turned pastor in Mississippi, and his name is Marty Merritt, Pastor Merritt, joining us from Mississippi now. Hey, how are you, Pastor? And when is the last time you saw Jimmy? And what was your take on his demeanor at the time? Jimmy, Marty, I need you to, I think your microphone might be disengaged. We got to have you click the bottom left there and engage the microphone. Might be on mute. Anyway, so while we wait for Pastor Merritt to fix that computer, this is not the first time that this has happened. to Jennifer Aniston. I mean, I know Jennifer Aniston. I've been to a couple parties with her. We have a couple of mutual friends. I've been in the kitchen with her, having a chit chat. She's super nice, a little skittish, you know what I mean? And you always hear about the same group. She's always on vacation with Jason Bateman and Jimmy Kimmel in the same group. And she goes to the same restaurants all the time. You don't realize, like, she's not standoffish. Like, it's starting to come clear to me. She's just that famous that she has to worry about things like this. I mean, in 2005, Jennifer Aniston, there was a guy that took a taxi cab from, in the LA area up to her place in Malibu. And she has a second home up in Malibu. And the guy broke in. She wasn't there. And then in 2010, there was a guy in Pennsylvania who wanted to marry her, and he got in his car and he drove to Los Angeles. He pulled up to her place. He had a sharp object and a roll of duct tape, and he scratched the words "I love Jennifer Aniston" into the side of his car. She got a restraining order against that guy. But when you think about it, I mean, she's really gone through just an enormous amount of. Is it even worth it? You know what I mean? To be, that famous and successful on film, so everybody wants to marry Rachel. All right, well, you know what? I don't think we can find the pastor. I think we got some computer issues there, so we will turn to the conspiracy in Canton. I cannot get enough of the Karen Reed trial. And we got a hot mic spotlight on the Karen Reed trial right now. Boston Herald crime reporter Flint McColgan will be joining us. Let me set the stage here. The week begins with, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see our graphic. Nice work, everybody. Keeping up with Karen Reed. There they are. Jen McCabe. She was the first. She was on the stand at the beginning of the week. Crucial character in this whole trial. The defense sees Jen McCabe as the ringleader to this cabal of cops working together as one to frame Karen Reed for the death of her boyfriend, police officer John O'Keefe. I'm going to say she performed better on the stand for the prosecution this time around as opposed to the first trial. Flint McColgan from the Boston Herald, absolutely the best reporter's nickname, crime reporter Flint McColgan with us. Flint, the strengths and weaknesses of Jen McCabe, and I'm not talking about the eye job or whatever plastic surgery she had done because she looks amazing.
Well, so she certainly can keep up with. It seems like she's holding her ground. She's fighting back under cross-examination by the defense, and so I think that she's holding up better than she did in the last trial. So obviously she's sticking by her story, and she's saying it with confidence that Karen Reed told her to perform that search that's at the heart of everything, and she's not backing down from that.
I mean, for the defense, Alan Jackson, the lead defense attorney for Karen Reed, I mean, if you're going to shake someone, this is the one you want to shake, because they're kind of pinning everything that she's really the quarterback of this idea that there are, this grand conspiracy of 12, 13, 15 people in law enforcement and adjacent who are working together, as one to keep a secret, never break from it, and bury Karen Reed. So I think that was a sort of a big positive for the prosecution, that she held herself together, never stumbled, never wavered, and was cool. Yeah?
Yeah, if she doesn't if she doesn't stumble, it's going to be harder for the defense to say, look at this, she wasn't ready to, she can't stick to her story. She stuck to her story pretty well. I think they're going to have a hard time nitpicking it. It's really whether or not the jury believes her story, not whether it can actually be broken down.
Yeah. Flint McColgan, crime reporter for the Boston Herald, covering this thing just every day. Yesterday was day 10. The defense set out to paint a picture of a shoddy investigation by police. They had this guy, Lieutenant Paul Gallagher. He's the first local cop to show up on the scene 6 o'clock in the morning when they call. He's the first to get there. This is the guy that took blood samples from the snow of John O'Keefe, put it in red Solo cups, put the red Solo cups in a Stop and Shop shopping bag. You got a real problem here. I mean, you're the defense. You're saying this is complete and utter incompetence. But this guy kind of dug in and went the other way and said, well, I didn't have much with me, so the prosecution is saying it was quite resourceful that he got the blood samples at all, and that was what was available. How did that play?
Yeah, just to be clear, he wasn't the first local cop on scene. That was Steve Seraf, but he was the first supervisory cop. He was the first lieutenant to take control of the scene. So how it played is, well, I mean, obviously, if you've watched any episodes of CSI or Law and Order or something, you know that red Solo cups and grocery bags are not, sterile evidence gathering equipment. So obviously, I don't think there's any way to make that seem like it's professional. So that's never going to look good.
Where are the red Solo cups from? Are they from the back of his car? Are they from the back of Karen's car? Are they?
Well, he said he doesn't know where the grocery bag's from, but we do know where the red Solo cups came from. There was another Canton lieutenant who lives right across the street, and so he went over there and got them.
Now, interestingly enough, the guy that's across the street, again, another police officer, it seems like everybody's a cop. Why didn't they ever check the camera? That became an issue. This guy across the street, the neighbor, has a camera that shines down on his front door, might show you a nice picture of the front yard across the street, which could tell you everything you need to know. Why didn't the cops, who are, again, being painted for having a shoddy investigation here, they never went into the house, the actual owner of the home who hosted the party the night before, and then you got a dead guy on the lawn, you don't go in there, and you don't check the camera that's across the way with a possibly very clear shot.
Well, that's exactly it. So what Gallagher said was that he knows what that camera captures. He's picked up packages from that fellow cop's house before because they work in the same station, and so he knows what the camera captured, and he said it doesn't have a clear view of it, that it's just a little of the porch and a little of the front yard of that house. Obviously, in Cross, the defense was like, well, you don't know that. Maybe it has multiple angles, but that's just the one that he uses when he's checking for packages. And but he never confirmed it, and he said the reason he didn't get it is because he knew what it captured and didn't capture.
Huh. So this guy, Gallagher, I don't think he was great for the prosecution. He admitted he saw no taillights on the ground. He was the guy, you look at the video, it's been out there just repeatedly, but the video of there's a cop and he's got a leaf blower and he's blowing the snow around John O'Keefe's body on the front yard. And he's blowing, and in that moment, he's trying to clear away the snow. This guy says, quite honestly, that he never saw any taillights on the ground. Days later, when the very corrupt Massachusetts state trooper Michael Proctor took over the investigation, he all of a sudden found 46 pieces of taillight. So the guy with the leaf blower finds none, and then the state trooper comes and finds 40. Some of them are red. You see that in snow very clearly. That's a big problem. He also defended his decision not to search the house, or at least knock on the door of the man. I would knock on the door. If there's a dead guy on somebody's front lawn, I'm knocking on that door, at least to say, sir, you might notice there's a million, sirens out here and rescue vehicles and trucks and fire department and everything like that. Also, a dead guy is on your yard. They don't knock on the door. They don't tell the owner. And the owner is the cop, Brian Albert, who has investigation in his bloodstream. No curiosity, says he slept through the whole thing. It's just unbelievable. So the other big thing that is fascinating, and we've lost Flint McColgan. He's got a tough signal too. The Bushman is getting killed today, folks. Let's just be honest. People can't work their microphones. We're muted. I don't know. But I'll tell you this. I am most fascinated by the tale of the voicemails. This is unbelievable. So Karen Reed, she says, she left 50 She made 52 phone calls to John O'Keefe after she left, right? Okay, you've got the voicemails of 52 calls starting at 12:33. So she makes calls. In that 3 minutes that she makes her first couple calls, she gets to John O'Keefe's house. He's that close. She reconnects to the Wi-Fi at his home at 12:36. The calls stop between 1:18 and then they resume again at 4:38 in the morning. And now the tone of the calls switches. First, take a listen to her frantic voice messages she left on O'Keefe's phone.
John, I'm here with your fucking kids. Nobody knows what the fuck you are, you fucking pervert. Yeah, it's 1 in the morning. I'm with your fucking niece and nephew. You fucking pervert. You're a fucking pervert. John, I'm going home. I cannot babysit your niece. I need to go home. You are fucking using me right now. You're fucking another girl. Kim's sleeping next to me. You're a fucking loser. Fuck yourself. John, I got you. Where's the blankets? I don't see blankets,
Very interesting. So those are the early phone calls in the night. You son of a bitch, you're cheating on me. You're doing all this stuff. Then after 4:38 in the morning, before she finds the body at 6 o'clock in the morning, it's where are you? Where are you? What happened? Why are you not home? Because you never made it there. So, I wonder, Flint McColgan from the Boston Herald is back with us. Flint, what's the jury doing, during all of this? How are they taking this?
So, as I said last time I spoke with you, this jury is quite a bit less reactive than the last one. There are quite a few more obvious note takers, but obviously I just had some technical difficulties. What exactly were you speaking before
I was playing
you?
the frantic phone calls. They show her jealous and rageful, and but then they turn. The later calls are more about concern. So the prosecution, it sounds like a woman who didn't just kill someone. She made 52 phone calls. After you kill someone, the prosecution is obviously trying to go with the idea that she made all these calls because she had to cover her tracks. She killed the guy, and now she has to show that she didn't know and she didn't, and so she makes 52 calls to cover her tracks. I mean, who does that after murder for the first time?
And they do sound frantic. She's screaming in them. She's accusing him of cheating with someone. They do seem highly emotional, and they unless she's an amazing actress, I don't see how they could point, like how they would be perceived as her just trying to cover her tracks.
Look, I would say this. If I was John O'Keefe's friend and he did not die that night, the next day I would say, John, we got to talk. You got to get rid of the lady that called you 52 times last night. I mean, she's going nuts. You cheating bastard, the whole thing. Keep in mind, she had already been sexting with one of the other cops that's in the house. You're yelling at him for being a cheating bastard, and you're saying, hey, do you think I'm hot? To Brian Higgins, an ATF cop, right, who was at the party and was with O'Keefe that night. If, in fact, he went in, he was one of the people. But she was sexting with him, and, he said, oh, I thought you were hot from jump. Oh, how long you wanted me, boom. And they've even made out before they kissed. So she's cheated.
They kissed, yeah.
Right?
And so that is, I think, what the prosecution is trying to lead with these things. While maybe the content of the voice messages don't seem like someone who had just killed someone necessarily, the prosecution has been implying that she could be quite unhinged. Obviously, they said that they're not going to do the Aruba trip in this trial, but in the last one, we had her screaming at a woman who testified that she had screamed that Reed had screamed at her and accused her of making out with John O'Keefe. And so obviously the prosecution is trying to imply an unhinged personality in Reed.
Yeah, she's totally, she does show a bit of erraticism. Now you got to decide, is she flying off the handle like, I'm going to get him? And where is he? In my rear view mirror, it's snowing, it's a blizzard, and she somehow spins those tires and blasts at 60 miles an hour, however fast you have to go, to nail the guy. Flint, have you ever thought that it's possible that both things happened?
That
Like
Wait,
there was
please
a
explain
fight
your
inside, like John O'Keefe got in a fight inside with these guys. That's where he got the scratch marks on his arm from the dog that attacked him because he thought this guy was, attacking his owner. So the dog rips into the John O'Keefe's arm and, he's got a wound in the front. He's got the blunt force in the back. Something other than a car happened to him. Did he get in a fight, come out, and then she says, there you are, you son of a bitch, and then she finishes him off. Everybody's right and everybody's wrong. Is that possible?
I have heard a lot of takes on this.
Never this one.
I'm always online. This is a new one. I think Billy, you may be developing a brand new angle to this.
I don't know. What if I turned out to be right, Flint? I mean, what would you give it right now if you were doing poly market on this thing? Would you say it's like an 8% chance of being right?
Your theory,
yeah.
An 8% chance. That seems a little high for that. That's a lot of things happening all at once. But you know what? We'll never really know if you're correct or not. It's just what the jury thinks and is the most likely thing. And there are some things that will never be answered.
We're talking to Flint McColgan from the Boston Herald, covering Karen Reed trial daily. So just like, what are people saying? I can't get your opinion because you are one of the last objective reporters in America, but what are people saying? Who seems to have the upper hand right now, prosecution or defense? This is about reasonable doubt and, for prosecution, burden of proof.
So what reasonable people are saying, we don't know because they're drowned out by fringe cases on both sides. If you're on social media and trying to actually understand the facts of this, you will either have to join side A or side B and be very angry about everything. So who's winning? It really depends on who you're asking. I would say that this trial seems to be a lot better organized on the prosecution side, but that also just means that the defense could be a lot more focused in their takedowns. They have fewer prosecution witnesses that they have to focus on.
Yeah.
So really, it's anyone's game this early in the trial. But Karen Reed says that a lot of things the defense is trying to use with the clips and stuff are going to be contextualized when her team takes the lead toward the end of trial.
Yeah, I mean, the prosecution keeps putting up all these videos, the TV interviews that she did before this trial began, and they're saying, it's evidence of her preening and peacocking, and that this is, this is not a normal person. I think they've done a way better job this time around of showing the erratic nature.
Yeah, and Brennan's clip today that he played at the very end, the very last thing jurors heard before they were let go for the day was Karen Reed saying, Jen McCabe, it's you or me. One of us is going down. That's a paraphrase, but something like that. It was pretty chilling. I think it was probably pretty effective to end the day that way.
One of us is going down, Jen McCabe. Wow.
I can't remember the exact quote, but that was the paraphrase.
Who's got the rights to this? Ryan Murphy? Did Ryan Murphy already license the rights to this this incredible miniseries that we're all going to be watching? Flint McColgan,
wow.
You are, probably. You're incredible. You like our graphic right there? Let's see it. There's Turtle Boy. We're going left to right as you look at the screen. Turtle Boy, the social media vigilante who's rallied the Karen Reed side. There's Brian Albert, the cop who hosted the party that night, the late night party, the cop who never came out to take a look and find out what's all the commotion about. Oh, there's a dead guy on my lawn. There's Alan Jackson. Beautiful strapless number, wearing a gorgeous Givenchy. He is the lead attorney for Karen Reed. There's Karen. Brian Higgins, the one she kissed, the other cop who she sexted with while she's blasting away at her boyfriend. And there's the beautiful Jen McCabe. Jen McCabe, she looks very different this time around. Anybody talking about her physical appearance and how it's different? Careful, Flint.
Well, the Boston Herald columnist Howie Carr is a very opinionated man on this.
I love Howie.
So he's talking less about her physical appearance than he did last year, but he's bringing up that she's always wearing crosses.
Yes, that's smart.
Yeah, and then I think recently he did like he had a Canton Confidential Quiz, he called it, and he was like, which one of these didn't wear a cross on the stand? So obviously the answer is not Jen McCabe.
Yeah, big Catholic community there. I tell you, McCabe had an eye job, and it is a fantastic one. It is really, really nicely done. Flint, McColgan, we'll stay in touch. Thank you so much.
Of course, thanks for having me on. Sorry for that little hiccup there.
Yeah, we had you on twice. Thanks, pal. All right, well, I said it was coming, and it is here. The woke right, and it's wrong, and it's going to bite the high-flying Republican Party right in the ass. The woke left was finally overthrown, right? Canceling people like the Central Park Karen, this white woman canceled for calling the police on a black bird watcher who was yelling at her. People wrongly accused of racism, transphobia, sexism, or whatever, then they get flogged in the proverbial town square. They lose their jobs and they lose their livelihoods. Remember Nick Sandman, a kid from Kentucky, a Catholic high school kid on a field trip to attend the March for Life in D.C. He's wearing that red MAGA hat. Sin enough to the media elite. And CNN, Washington Post, NBC News all said he clashed with an Omaha tribesman. You see their face right there if you're watching on YouTube. The Omaha tribesmen at the Indigenous Peoples March. Everybody goes to D.C. with their own march, but they happen to be on the same day. Well, not so fast. A third group, some black guys from the Black Hebrew Israelites, were later shown in subsequent cell phone videos to be the ones agitating against the sort of elder indigenous guy. So Nick got paid. CNN and the Washington Post settled with Nick, this kid. He made some money. But they leapt down his throat, right? A perfectly clear example of the excesses of the woke left that led to the takedown of the Democrat Party. We never seem to be able to find the middle. Or if you're, like me, I'm in the middle, but, passionately in the middle. I'm going to call myself a radical centrist. Passivity just isn't going to work these days. The woke right is here, as evidenced by a woman who's unmistakably on film admitting to calling a 5-year-old black child at the playground the N-word for allegedly stealing stuff out of her 18-month-old's diaper bag. So she got confronted by this citizen journalist, or let's just call it a guy who would, if people were in a burning building, he'd film them before he'd call the fire department. They love to jump in somebody's face, but he heard this woman call this 5-year-old boy the N-word. The woman is named Shiloh Hendricks from Minnesota. She's just like unemployed, down on her luck, said She said, yeah, I called that boy the N-word because he's acting like one. I mean, wow. Blame it on Dave Chappelle. He famously joked that there's a difference between black people and the N-words. Like there's a difference between white people and trailer trash, redneck hicks or whatever. She felt very comfortable to access that word and throw it out there. The woke right, though, is the pendulum swinging way too far in the other direction. You know what I mean? It's scary that this woman, Shiloh Hendricks, that her unabashed, unambiguous, racist behavior now qualifies her as a hero. She set out to raise $20,000 on a GoFundMe type of website to help her with relocation expenses because she had to move after this. But wait, now she's raised, last I checked an hour ago, $740,000 and climbing. She set out to do 20. She's got 740 now. The woke right is going to make this, down on her luck racist woman a millionaire. Nothing assumed or prejudged. She's actually guilty, this woman. Actually shitty. She's actually on screen defending and using the N-word over and over again. It's not like she was picked out, misjudged, misplayed, and then totally crushed without any kind of due process. She didn't need due process. She admitted it. So Piers Morgan had a woman on last night on his panel to talk about this whole episode involving Shiloh Hendricks. And whoa, what happens? One of the women on the panel, who looks like, plain Jane from down the street in Dubuque, comes out as a copycat right there in the moment. Check it out.
That's a different.
Sorry, but just to be
thing.
clear, you just said to me you use the N-word regularly. In what context?
Right.
Do you use it with black people?
Yes, if it's appropriate.
When would it be
She
appropriate
uses
to
it
use the
about
N
black
word?
people.
When would it be appropriate?
Anytime I feel like it.
So you're an unashamed racist.
Correct.
Well, do you understand that makes you a despicable human being?
I guess so. I don't really care. I mean, why are we not talking about Shiloh Hendricks? Why are we talking about?
Well, actually, I think
racist?
you've moved it on in this debate very quickly to your own racism, which explains
Look at the two black guys.
why you've
Look at the two
supported
black
her
guys sitting
in
on the
public
panel.
and why you've got all these views. You see no problem with a woman.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I use it whenever I want. Yeah. So what the hell is going on? Over the weekend, Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports, Stool Presidente, took to social media to lambaste this Temple University student named Mohammed Khan for writing F the Jews on a sign in Portnoy's bar in Philly. The kid got suspended from Temple, goes on some neo-Nazi freaks show where the guy calls Dave a most unvarnished name.
This guy's not a good guy. He just utterly destroyed my life.
No, he's not a good guy. He's a filthy Jew. But tell me more about
All
Temple.
right, that's enough. Take him down. He's a filthy Jew. These people are now coming out. Like, how many racists are waiting for the green light to come, just to come roaring out? Oh, my God, thank you. It's like coming out of a matinee. Oh, my God, we can see again. Will Shiloh Hendricks be looked upon as the one who set all the demons free, who inadvertently launched this movement? The conservative media is silent here. Is their silence as much a mistake as CNN, MSNBC, Washington Post, active whipping of Nick Sandmann, this kid? Yeah, same effect. The independents, like me and maybe you, I hope so, pissed off ones. The radical centrists are watching and they don't like the massive overcorrection any more than the woke left weaponizing shame and ripping people's livelihoods away. Trump, where are you on this? I think he's got, with all the things you talk about, and you're always talking live, sitting there with people. Take a break from their egregious ass-kissing of you to make a comment on this. Speaking of, Pam Bondi, very jealous today. The Attorney General, she's very, very jealous. People are getting in on her territory. She's just fallen out of first place, the top of the totem pole in the White House pecking order for sucking up to the commander-in-chief. She got out ass-kissed, not by one person, but two. First, the kid that carried a briefcase in 10th grade, Stephen Miller.
Well, I had the pleasure of getting to be at the meeting today between the President of the United States and the Prime Minister of Canada. What I witnessed was like watching a grandmaster in chess perform.
Mr. President, you grandmaster of chess. Stephen, have some dignity, my friend. My God. Then we've got our Homeland Security Secretary, Kristi Noem. Now, she was a little bit more measured, but without question, lips firmly glued to presidential ass.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. Thank you so much for dreaming big dreams and doing unprecedented things. Your entire life, you have stood for doing things that other people thought they couldn't do and accomplishing unprecedented events and achievements. And so this is...
Well, see, that was not as bad as Pam. Pam saying, sir, please do not elevate her above me. Like, she was solid, but, it wasn't blithering enough.
Hey, Billy. I'm sorry, but you said that they outdid Bondi, but just for fun, I wanted to play this just as a reminder.
Yeah. Good idea. Just for
President, your first 100 days has far exceeded that of any other presidency in this country, ever. Never seen anything like it. Thank you.
I think it. You know what? I think it's in the ever.
I don't know. I kind of feel like Bondi wins because she's at it daily.
By far. No, by far. She did it way better. So I think I misspoke. Kristi Noem took an attempt, but Pam Bondi still sits at the top of the pecking order. Yesterday, Trump meets with here's a guy that's not even in the running. This guy was pretty impressive. The new Canadian Prime Minister, Mark Carney, who made it clear there will be no 51st state. But the Don did a great job of praising our neighbors. A nice about face, a nice turnaround, praising our neighbors to the north, attempting to ease the tension. Now, Trump got on a roll, but he made one small mistake.
Canada is a very special place to me. I know so many people that live in Canada. My parents had relatives that lived in Canada, my mother in particular. And I love Canada. I have a lot of respect for the Canadians. Wayne Gretzky, I mean, how good, the great one. You happen to have a very, very good hockey player right here on the Capitals, who I have a lot of. He is a big, tough cookie too. Just broke the record, and he's a great guy. And
great guy.
We had the team here, and I got to know a lot of the players.
Yeah, that great guy is not a Canadian. He is on the Washington Capitals. He is Russian. He's very much Russian, and he did break Wayne Gretzky's record, most goals in NHL history. Yeah. You know that moment, everyone's sitting there going, did he just keep going? Don't break, let the moment pass. Listen, Don, leave the ass kissing to the cabinet. This is not in your nature. So now to what oh my God, you know we have coming up here? This is amazing. Somebody get the martini set. We've got the great Dolph Lundgren. I love Dolph Lundgren. And by the way, Belichick is not the only one. Belichick is 49 years older than Jordan Hudson, his girlfriend. Well, guess what? Yeah. Dolph is 40 years older than his new wife. Dolph Lundgren, in just a second. We'll be right back on Hot Mics.
Welcome to LA Golf. You guys ready for the tour? We're the only golf company that manufactures its clubs here in the United States. All LA Golf drivers are built right here.
I'm very excited for today's production. It's going to be
4 left.
Anybody hungry?
So does he work here? Work here? He lives here.
Well, I got to be honest, a bit of a boyhood chubby going right here. Got to say it. No bigger fan of this man who's joining us right now, total legend, famous for The Expendables, of course, and Rocky IV. He was Ivan Drago. If he dies, he dies. And he's got a new vodka. Check this out, called Hard Cut. This is gorgeous. Hard Cut vodka. I'll tell you this, I don't normally drink while I'm working, but today you may break me.
Great. I'm excited. Have you tried it yet?
Well, you know what? I think, Dolph, before we get into business, I thought what I would do is have a beautiful moment here and make a little martini. What do you think about that, of this Hard Cut?
Okay. Why don't you do a 5? Can you do 5 to 1? So 5 parts, like 2.5 ounces of vodka. And,
oh no, I'm going straight vodka.
You'd put a little vermouth in there or no?
No way. I'm a purist. I just want to go straight to the Hard Cut. We're going to give a nice little pour of Dolph's beautiful. I'm a vodka guy. I am definitely a martini guy. Let's take a little sip right here and see what we're dealing with. Oh my God, that has a wow. Now, what am I? There's something in there, Dolph, that is, it's not such a nasty bite at the end. What is that?
Potato. It's potato.
Oh, like
it's potato vodka. There's all the other vodkas most of them are Kettle One and Belvedere and Grey Goose are all grain vodkas. And Tito's is corn, so it's a little bit smoother, but potato is even smoother. So,
oh my God, I love this stuff. Now, you took the unconventional route. I mean, you made a ton of movies, but you have your bachelor's and master's in chemical engineering. Does that lead to the making of a great vodka? Are you coming in with advanced knowledge?
A little bit, yeah. I actually. Also, being Swedish and playing a couple of Russians along the way.
Yeah.
I did drink a lot of vodka when I was younger in Sweden, and And I think, what happened was with this vodka particularly was that about 6 years ago, I was in Santa Barbara with my girlfriend at the time. Now she's my wife. She's from Norway, by the way. And I just couldn't find a vodka I liked. And I had a lot of tequilas, but I wanted to try some vodkas. And then she said something like, why don't you make your own? You're a chemical engineer. You used to play Russian, you're Swedish. You should do it. And somewhere along these 6 years, I've been thinking, I wish I would have said no, but because it's been a lot of work, but starting a new company and entrepreneurship and fundraising and all of that. But I think, what we did try about 40 different vodkas from all over the world, and we found one in Idaho, just not too far from California where I live. It's a potato vodka, and we realized the potato, it's a much smoother taste, much creamier.
Yeah.
It's all that starch, and the Rocky Mountain water, and it's just I wanted to sip in vodka, something I don't have to throw a bunch of OJ over or anything to drink it, but I can have it in a martini or straight up. And that's what we ended up, creating.
So you mentioned your wife, girlfriend. You guys, you have a 40-year age difference, don't you, Dolph? I mean,
Yes.
where did you meet such a spring chicken?
I got to go to the gym.
She was at the gym. She's a trainer. She sees you're beautiful. She is stunning. So wait a minute. She's like 30 something?
She's she's about 30 now. Yeah. Close to 30. So she was a trainer.
She's 20s. She's in her 20s. You're not quite How old are you? You're not quite Belichick here, are you?
Well, no. I mean, she's in her 20s. But look, people as you get older, a lot of people look down on the younger folks. But you look at
she keeps you young.
Einstein came up with his theory of relativity. He was in the 25, I think, and Jimi Hendrix was in the 20s. Bruce Lee. There's a lot of knowledge in young people too. She's very clever and she knows a lot of stuff I don't. But physically, yes, we are at a different age. With almost 40 years time difference.
Can you keep up with her? Can you keep up with her?
Almost. I struggle sometimes, but it's a good motivator to be around young people. I'm fortunate enough in the movie business to, when I work on a movie now, I end up being one of the oldest guys around. So, everybody being younger, it's a motivator. I like it.
Dolph, you have you had a 9-year battle with cancer. Announced in November that you're cancer free. How are you feeling today physically?
I feel pretty good. I went through the first 5 years wasn't that hard because I was supposed to be, it's supposed to be gone. The cancer was supposed to be gone. It came back. And then I went through a more extensive treatment. And, I kept working throughout, made movies, kept pretty normal life, except I wasn't able to train as hard as I was training before. So I think physically I took a bit of a tumble, and it took me about a year to get back in shape from, let's say, March 2024 to March 2025. But I feel good now. I don't think about it as much. I do something called cancer survivorship therapy, which is basically you're dealing with some PTSD-like effects when you go through a near-death experience or when you're very confronted with your mortality in that way, almost like a frontline soldier. Your body, as long as you're being shot at and you're in the foxhole with your buddies, you don't think about it. But it's when you come home, when your tour is over, that's when the shit hits the fan and you end up getting really depressed.
I think, life is like, putting on a golf course. There's some people who putt to make it, and there are some people who putt to not miss, which means with your life, after going through something like that, and I wonder if you talk about this in therapy, is you could live always wondering, is it going to come back? Is it going to come back? Oh, I feel something weird right now. I'm feeling a little bit off. I'm a little bit tired. I wonder if that's it. You know, it could consume you, but you probably have to get yourself mentally to a place where it's like, what am I doing? I have to live present and forward.
Correct. No, you're very much right. That's what happens. You become, as I say, hypervigilant.
Yeah.
Your body, you know, you know, you check on every sign of the disease returning. Or another example is, you know, I remember seeing an interview with a guy who, the guy who played the lead in Band of Brothers, that great TV series. It was the American. He was a captain at the end of the war. I can't remember his name now. But he said, you know, he'd be walking along when he came back, years after he came back, he'd be walking along the road and a car would misfire and he would find himself in the ditch.
Right.
But he didn't know how he ended up in the ditch. He would suddenly wake up and he's laying in the ditch. It's like your body just has its own reaction. And once you've been close to your own mortality, and the same thing, you're right. You know, that's part of the therapy is how do you live in the moment? How do you deal with the fact that, you know, yeah, you could, you know, anybody could get hit by a bus next week, or you live till you're 95. You don't know.
How did you defy the odds? I mean, the doc said you had 3 years to live at one point. I mean, that's like a dire thing to say to someone.
Yeah.
What pushed you through?
I think part of it was I had the great doctor at UCLA, very, very great person. I got a second opinion. I was somewhere else before, and a friend of mine was playing in a golf tournament, and I was advised to try this other new doctor out. Her name is Drakaki. She is from Greece originally. She is now at UCLA. And she re-examined all the biopsies, and she came up with the fact that it was another mutation, a kind of unusual mutation, that there was some other, I was misdiagnosed for 2 years, and there's some other drugs that, you know, as soon as I took the other drugs, in about 3 weeks, the tumor started shrinking, and then they removed all the tumors. So part of it is the treatment. Part of it, I think, is because I was physically fit. And also my wife was very supportive, and also she is very much into organic food, and we changed our diet to like pretty much a fully organic diet.
How much vodka does she let you drink?
Well, you got to have a lot of vodka. That's part of it.
Actually, there's certain things I can do here, honey. I'll eat the asparagus, but I'm not putting down the martini. I'm not having.
No. I still drink a bit of vodka. I you know, anything.
Life's for living, Dolph. Life's for living. Yeah. But now listen, are you going to have more children? Have you discussed the children? Are you going to be a father? She's a young woman now. She may want a baby.
Well, I know. That hasn't really come up yet too much, but
it's gonna.
Yeah, sort of talked about it a little bit. I was kind of against it before because I thought,
you've had the conversation. Dolph.
No, I mean now it's sort of. I think it is anything she wants to do, and I would support that. And I mean, obviously, having a kid when you're over 60, I mean, it's like. Yeah, some people would not approve of it, but on the other hand, you know, it gives you another reason to live till you're 95. And, you know.
Oh, you're chasing around a young wife, and now you're chasing around a toddler. You're going to need a lot of energy and definitely some vodka. Dolph, I got to ask you, when's the last? I was emailing Sly Stallone last night because we're getting together to have him on Hot Mics, and he and I have the same lawyer, and I'm very good friends. With his brother-in-law, the great Dr. Neil Elatrash, who is I
love Neil.
Neil Elatrash, the great orthopedic surgeon, just did Aaron Rodgers' Achilles heel and all that. Anyway, he's lining up, and I'm wondering, you guys, Expendables and Rocky, and how often do you keep up with Sly?
You know, I talk to him. I mean, he lives in Florida now, so I don't see him as much, but I did talk to him every couple of weeks. You know, I was in Florida. At a benefit a couple of weeks ago, and I texted with him, and he was filming in Atlanta, so I missed him. But I think, you know, hopefully we may launch the vodka in Florida later this year. Hopefully I'll see him there. He's obviously a great friend. He's been very, you know, super inspirational in my career. And, you know, he got me my first break 40 years ago. You know, we've done about 6, 7 movies over a 40-year period. So even in Hollywood, it's pretty unusual to stay in touch and to work together for that long. So I really value that friendship. And he's a very, very, as you know, funny and intelligent, smart guy, you know, and super sharp.
How did you beat out 5,000 people for this role? I mean, you are big, beautiful, handsome. You were not a bodybuilder. You were not a boxer. But you got 5,000 dudes to get the odds on that, no matter what. What was the secret sauce?
I think some of it was right place at the right time. Now, he was writing a script about a Russian fighter. I was a European heavyweight karate champion. I was a big blonde guy, good shape. I was in New York. I was an unknown, so he had a new face there nobody had seen. And I think, you know, it was my acting coach in New York, Warren Robertson, was the guy who suggested I go up for the role. I was turned down because I was too tall. They had like a cutoff height, I think of 6'2" or something, and I was 6'4". But I think what happened was I met with Sly. I ended up going to see him. They flew me in. I saw him at Paramount. He was about to do Rambo 2. He had long hair and, you know, super tanned. I was starstruck. You know, I walked in there and he showed me, I got 5,000 guys up for this role. He had all the, you know, in those days it was all binders, you know, like there were no computers around. But I think when he met me, I heard later he said that he changed his idea. He was looking for like more of a kind of a hairy beast looking guy. And then he saw this sort of, you know, blonde kind of innocent,
Say it.
but
Beautiful,
powerful
beautiful
guy, you know?
beast.
So he kind of went that way.
Oh my God.
Also, I could fight. You can't teach somebody to move and fight. You know, there's not enough time. You know, so I could move very well for a big white guy. So you know, I think part of that was, you know, I had a lot of skills in the ring too.
Did you send photos and videos of yourself to a friend of Sly's, or like do a little match move there that the other guys might not have thought of?
What happened was I was at a dinner in Manhattan. I was going out with Grace Jones, who was a big singer in those days, and Warren Robertson was an acting coach. And it was another guy there at dinner called, his name was John Hertzfeld, and he's a good old friend of Stallone's from the college days. And Hertzfeld said, "Hey, you're the guy Sly's looking for." And I jumped on my motorcycle. I went down to the village and got my photo, an 8x10 I'd taken when I was in Australia on a scholarship. I was studying engineering there. And that photo in boxing gear is what Sly saw. And that's the reason I ended up going to Paramount later from New York to meet him.
Wow, you and Grace Jones. You mentioned Grace Jones there. I know you met her. You were enrolled at the University of Sydney. She's a legendary singer. You both have the same flat top. Did you must have had a great time doing your hair together in the morning?
Yeah, exactly. Except when I met her, I had more like a mullet. You know, it was in the 80s. But what happened? I came to New York, and I think she said you should cut your hair shorter. And I was modeling for Zoli. It was an agency in New York, and you know, I think a hairdresser cut it short, not exactly her haircut. But then I met this guy in LA who was this kind of surfer dude down in Venice Beach, and he had something called a flat topper, which was a comb about that wide, and you just put it through your hair and you cut it with a razor right through, and it made it perfectly flat. So I kind of outdid her with my flat top.
Unbelievable. So, Dolph, it's so great to catch up with you. I got to say, the vodka is fantastic. Hard cut vodka. And you wrote something. There's something in the back of the bottle. It says, "To the hard cuts, the clean finishes, and the victories we carve from the world. For those who take their vodka seriously." That's you and me, pal. This is...
Thank you, Bill. Yeah.
This is amazing. I'm going to say it. I'm a vodka guy, and that is damn good, as you would expect. Dolph, I appreciate your time. Good luck with those babies. I'm afraid you are going to be a father again soon, my friend. Just predicting.
All right, buddy. Say hi to Sly if you talk to him.
Gonna do it.
I'm gonna text him now and tell him I just spoke to you.
Great. Looking forward to it. Thank you, Dolph, so much. Legendary Dolph Lundgren. I mean, come on. If he dies, he dies.
He dies.
That was still up. I heard that. All right, folks, just a quick break. We're back on Hot Mics in 30 seconds.
Welcome to LA Golf. You guys ready for the tour? We're the only golf company that manufactures its clubs here in the United States. All LA Golf drivers are built right here.
I'm very excited for today's production. It's going to be
4 left.
Anybody hungry?
So does he work here?
Work here? He lives here.
All right, welcome back to Hot Mics, presented by LA Golf. Time now for my man, Skinny Vinny, the Slim Reaper, to weigh in. People say, you weigh your assistant? Like, what kind of psycho are you? You can't do that. Pan Am was doing that to flight attendants in the 70s and 80s, and you pay them. You encourage him. Listen, we started this whole weigh-in with him January 29th. He was 267 pounds as a 5'7" guy. By the way, happy Short King Week.
Thank you.
Short King Week. You're in the middle of it here because it's 5'7", but today is May 7th.
I'm a proud Short King, man.
Short King is all week. It's 5'5" to 5'9". Boom. Love it. July 29th is when this is over. So you're doing great. You're about halfway there. And the last we checked, you started at 267. You were 234.
Yeah.
So you've dropped 33 pounds.
Yep.
Let's see what's going on. Did we move from 234? Skinny Vinny on his way to $5,000. Better sleep. More dates with hot women. What do we got? I can't see.
232.
232.
Couple pounds. Now it's like 2 pounds every week. That's what it seems like.
30.
I gotta exercise.
You had like an 11-pound amazing week.
Yeah, I have to exercise. I have to go for walks. I have to do something active now. It's like I'm shaving weight, but it's so slow now.
Yeah, I know, but you know why? Here's what you're avoiding. You're avoiding like the HIIT workout, like the high intensity metabolism cranking kind of a workout. You're avoiding that.
I don't want to do it.
But listen, they say 80%. It's 80% food, 20% workout.
Yeah. Yeah, but when you get as big as I was, you got to work out. You have to tighten up. Basketball, I'll play some basketball.
That's a good way to do it.
That's a great, I love basketball.
So you're obviously not a good rebounder because
I'm 5'7".
Are you if you're 5'7", that means you're 5'6.5".
I probably am.
No,
honestly.
don't admit that. You fight.
No.
You
I'm
fight
5'7". Listen, you're my boss. You're right about everything, okay?
Oh, please.
I'm 5'6.5", everyone.
Oh my God. All right, listen. Let's forward motion. Let's talk about progress. Bravo, my friend.
I feel good. What is that?
35
pounds. Yeah. I need 12 more pounds.
Yeah, that's.
I'm sorry. No, 15 more pounds.
15 more pounds. You got that. July 29 is the cutoff.
Yeah.
All right, Skinny Vinny, looking good, buddy. Hot Mics with Billy Bush, presented by LA Golf today. Thank you for being with us. We thank Dolph Lundgren for being with us today. His vodka is called Hard Cut Vodka, and you can go to hardcutvodka.com to see where it is. It's at Total Wine. It's at Bevmo. Yeah. It's at a whole bunch of other whatever you have, wherever you are. I would just look it up on the website, hardcutvodka.com. It's very good. Potato Vod. All right. Thanks for being with us, and we will catch you on Monday. We have a lot coming. Oh, we have Kelsey Grammer, who's been through a lot. We have Nathan Hochman. We have the DA from Los Angeles. That the Menendez brothers situation is upon us. Will they be getting out? Gavin Newsom's looking at it. The new district attorney in Los Angeles is Nathan Hochman, and we're going to talk Menendez with him. Up, down, all around. That's Monday. Thanks for watching today. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you.